All right, we're gonna take a break from working on the hay wagon, mostly because I got my tie rod ends, I got jam nuts, I got the tap now to chase the threads. I'm just waiting on the 2 big bolts I need to put the kingpin and everything back together, or the steering yoke. So those should have been in today, but I was gonna wait and call in the morning just in case. But anyway, so once I get all that, we can finish putting the hay wagon together. But today, we're gonna get the mower put on the 77, and I gotta do some work to it. But before we do that, I wanted to show you this. I just got this today. So this stuff was over at my uncle's place. He's got it cleaned up, or cleaning all of his stuff up. They got the barn, the new owner has the barn pretty much tore down now, but they still were cleaning some stuff out of the basement. So this stuff would have been my mom's dad's dad, so my great grandfather on my mom's dad's side. He worked for the Chevy garage here in town, and then after that, I guess he actually owned his own garage just up the road, just outside of town here. This stuff was his. This is a Sioux valve grinder. This is the valve grinder. That box is the seat grinder. And then this is all accessories for all of this. It's not, everything on this is not locked up except for the spindle for holding the valve for grinding your angle. Like I say, this stuff was all my great grandfather's. Then my granddad had it, and then my uncle pilfered it, and it's been sitting in his. Luckily, it wasn't in the big barn, or it'd be in a lot worse shape. It was in the old, I call it the Model T garage up by the road. Collecting. Luckily, that's a fairly dry building, and it was sitting up on a bench. So definitely gonna need a good tearing apart and cleaning up and putting back together, but very good likelihood Dad was actually the last one to run this thing, because he ground the valves for a 4-speed 60 on it, and if he thought he ground the first set of valves for the 77 in it. But since I cleaned it out and he had nowhere to take it, he gave all this stuff to me because nobody else wanted it. So it's definitely going to be a future project. I mean, it's going to be, you're not just going to plug in and go, and hopefully I got all the tooling and everything for it. But being a Sioux, I think Sioux was a pretty popular valve grinder. So hopefully some of this stuff, like tooling, grinding wheels, hopefully some stuff like that is perishables, is still attainable, hopefully. Need to find a manual for it because I don't have any books for it. There is I also got, there was a valve spring compressor there that went with it. Dad's got a valve spring compressor, but I don't, so I grabbed it. There is kind of somewhat readable instructions for the seat grinder, but there's various grinding wheels. That one's cracked, so it's no good. But some miscellaneous hand tools that were just sitting in there. There's the power head for it that probably needs a new plug. It even smells like, I love that smell, it even smells like old garage. It's got that old musty greasy smell to it. So hopefully most of this stuff that belongs with this is in here as well. But hopefully I can figure out what models they are. There's got to be a tag on them somewhere. Oh, I think this one actually said in the, oh, there's a tag right there. I haven't found the tag on the grinder itself yet. But hopefully I can get models off of them and get some manuals for them and figure out, and then hopefully, like I say, Sioux, I'm pretty sure, was a pretty popular engine tool manufacturer, so hopefully perishables for it are somewhat easy to come by. And then this guy is probably the coolest thing of all. I don't even want to know how much this thing is probably worth because it's got military value, collector value, and mechanic collector value. This is a World War II U.S. Army Air Force issue dial indicated torque wrench, made by Cedar Rapids Engineering of Delaware. And the weird part is it's a 3/4 inch drive, but it's in inch pounds, which is interesting. But it goes up to 3,500 inch pounds. Quick way torque indicating wrench. So, and it's in very good shape. The outside of the box is trash, but the inside of the box and the torque wrench itself are immaculate. And it's a breakdown. It's got a split handle on it so you can fit it in the box. But I will probably get the box itself refinished, and then this is staying in the house. That's not going in a toolbox or anything. I don't know. It's got oil leaking out of it, so it's probably not froze up. I would just probably have to find somebody that has a way to calibrate it and see if it's still accurate. So that's kind of neat. And I guess the story behind this was my great-grandfather's also. I guess the story behind this, the main highway out here, I don't think it is anymore because other highways have been built to replace it, but at least up until like the 80s or 90s, it was considered a national defense highway. And during World War II, because it is the main thoroughfare between Chicago, or at that time was a main thoroughfare between Chicago and Detroit, when they were running troop convoys up and down that road, I guess, this is what my uncle told me, so take it with a grain of salt. I guess every garage along that route had had X number of miles that they were in charge of maintaining any breakdowns on military equipment that was running up and down the road, trucks, whatever. And if something broke down, they were in charge of arranging transport for whatever military personnel were on that vehicle back into town. And so I guess as part of that contract, he was issued military issued tools, and this was one of them. So, and he didn't know it, but I guess he was considered essential personnel because he was a civilian mechanic, and so that's how he didn't end up drafted. Apparently he also at that time owned his own large wrecker, which was, I guess, part of the deal with the contract was you had to have a wrecker big enough to handle, I'm guessing, a deuce and a half. So because he was a mechanic and he had his own wrecker, and he was right on a national defense highway, he didn't end up drafted because he was considered essential non-military personnel, but he still ended up with something like that. So this stuff was cool. So I figured it was worth showing you. If anybody knows where I can get manuals or tooling or anything for it, let me know, because that's going to be the hard part, at least until I learn more about it. I got to find a tag on that to get an exact model number. And then I also I had to buy this stuff, but I got Granddad 77 that I got to go get, a 3-bottom Oliver traction booster hitch plow that belonged to another farmer just down the road. Wish I could have got the tractor that went with it, but I missed out on that. And then I got Grandpa's barge wagon. So I got the 3 things that I wanted the most. Just got to go get them at some point. And I guess there's not a huge hurry to get the equipment out of there, but... And this was not my uncle's doing. He was just as blindsided as I was, because he was fully expecting, he would have been perfectly content dying on that farm. This was all on my cousin and my uncle's ex-wife. because my cousin actually owned the farm. So this is all, my uncle had nothing to do with this. He was completely blindsided by it too, and he now has, like, well, when I first told you about it, it was 25 days. So he's down to what, like 10, 15 days, and he has to be moved out and have a new place to live. So this was not his doing, and he did not like it as much as I did not like it. So, but I guess I'm getting some stuff. Oh, and I'm also getting when I get the corn off, we're gonna drag that 545 combine getting drug over to my house so I can get the parts off of it I want, and then it'll probably end up going to scrap because there's not much left of the body. So anyhow, this is today's find. Well, not find, this was today's gift, I guess. So anyhow, let's go up and get the mower on the 77. I got a little bit of maintenance to do on that and see what happens. So there's two things I got to do. First thing, I have to go through in some of these, I think that's one right there. Nope. A couple of these, and actually that'll probably change when the bar comes out. A couple of these knives in the guards are loose, so I need to either repeen the rivets from the top or put some tack, put a tack weld on there, peen the tack out, and then grind it off flat, one of the two. But I noticed here at the drive head, this hold down is loose, and I'm wondering if that might be part of my reason the bars keep breaking right here. I wonder if that's letting the bar bounce. So might have to wail on that with the sickle out. But you see, like, that one there's got a little bit of a rub to it. That one's got a little bit. So it looks like a couple of these could actually stand to be tightened up just a skosh. But so I'll have to address that. It looks like there's a removable shim here. We might be able to tighten it up here. And there's a couple shims there, so we'll probably need to shim this drive head up so that it'll quit take the chunk out of it, and hopefully that'll help with the bar breakage. Fix these, and then I need to look and see if there's enough room, and I'll have to take it apart, clean the track out that the knife back runs in, and see if there's enough room right here where it broke to weld a sheet, to weld or bolt, either or. Bolting would work. But I know that I was looking on Web Cutting Components website to see, and I had a call out to them and they never called me back, and then things happened with Shelly and I kind of forgot about it. See about getting a new knife back made for this, because I tried finding a new old stock one and Maybach didn't have any laying around and Parts Depot doesn't show any. So new old stock is out unless somebody has one laying around in a barn somewhere. But if I got another one, I'd want it to be new old stock, not a new used one. But I had to call out to Webb about getting a new one made, and they never called me back. So in lieu of that, when I was looking on their website, they sold cutter bar splice, or cutter bar, they call them cutter bar repair splices, if I remember right. Which they were just a piece of knife back about that spanned like 4 or 6 bolts that you bolted to the bottom of the bar where you had a break, and that was your repair. I don't think I have enough depth to do a full knife back depth of repair, but if I can get like a little bit of one in there just to give it some strength where that brake is and get this shimmed up where it's not rattling around, I think hopefully we'll solve our breakage problem, hopefully. So we need to get this guy out of here, which is a matter of, I think I gotta go from this side. Come on. And that's out. And then we just gotta shove it out that way. The other thing I need to look into is seeing about some new drive heads, because the balls are getting kind of worn on the ones that I have. The only two I saw on Webb's website was one for a Ford 501. I had one other one. And I got to do some investigating and see if they are the same as this or not. The Ford 501 looks incredibly similar, but without having one to look at and compare, I don't know. But I need to see if I have enough room to put a little splice like right here and span that brake. Although it does look like when we welded this, actually Dad did this once, he tigged it, and I can't tig for shit, well, at least especially on something important. When he tigged it back together, he tigged the bolt head to the knife back. That way you're not relying entirely on that weld in the joint, and it appears to be holding, so that's good. But I need to get a couple spots cleaned out here so that I can slide that knife back in and look and see how much room I can afford. It looks like I'll have at least a little bit. Like right there, I gotta tighten that up. It's not every one. That one's a little loose. I might be able to get away with just peening the rivets back out. Alright, I got all the stationary knives that were loose tightened back up. So now we need to pull some of this crap out of here mostly right here where the drive head goes, although it should be the same deal all the way down as far as clearance goes. I just need enough to get a good idea of how much clearance I have between the bottom of the knife back and the bottom of the trough. We should be good there, and then we're going to take this guy here. I don't know if that's too much or enough or what, but put that in there. Tighten that down a little bit, and then we'll pull these off and see. Well, get it back in there, pull those off, pull some shims out, see if we can tighten up the actual drive head portion. All right, it looks like we got a fair old bit of clearance in there. Not enough to get a full depth of like sandwich two knife backs back together in there, but if we had like a 1/16 or so of material to make a splice, we should probably make that work, just to reinforce the back of that bar. So let's lay this thing back down, and we will check out the shims there at that drive head. It is a lot tighter down there now at that second hold down that I tightened up. So that's what we were shooting for in that area. This is all stuff I'm finding out as I go, because the number of guys that you could go around and ask about running a sickle mower anymore are few and far between. So I need 1/2-inch wrench and a 3/8 or 9/16 it looks like. Okay, so we do have a couple shims here. Oh, and that guy is adjustable. So does that need to slide? That does need to slide forward. So I wonder if we had twofold. I wonder if it was flopping up and down and sliding forward and back. And then let's just say 2 shims out. I'm sure there's plenty of wear up in there. Take those 2 out and see what that gets us. All right, pulled 2 shims out of the back, 2 shims out of the front. It moves freely as it is. It does get tight trying to shove the bar all the way out because the sickles are not worn like everything else. So real quick before I pull the bar out, I want to see how it runs. See if it runs quiet and smooth and what have you. Don't do that at home, kids. Alright, we're starting to see a rub. Ooh, that's toasty. Starting to see a rub mark right there, which is fine. And we got a little rub mark right there from going under here, which is fine. When I got this thing, Max had these hold downs set so tight it had actually worn grooves. Like they were tight. So I don't know as far as mowers what's too tight, what's too loose. But I'd rather be tight and cut than loose. And I'm guessing that's what was kept breaking the bar, is if I was tight here, which I was, and I was loose here and loose here, it was probably letting the bar do this. And that right there is going to be your flex point, and that's where they broke. So it's probably sitting there going like this every stroke, and it just tick until it snapped. I'm guessing. So hopefully by tightening all this up, we're not hot there, so we're just a little toasty right there. Might be able to back that off just a skosh. But with that being said, we can pull the bar back out and see what we can do about putting a little splice in there. Alright, so this is what I came up with. The crack is right here, right on the end of the drive head. So I made this piece up that'll bridge the gap and catch so that we're bridging the brake. Hopefully it's thin enough. It should be. We'll find out here in a second. But I made it as wide as the Virgin. This part of the bar right here is not really worn. It's 3/4 wide. But up here where it actually runs, it's a little thinner, so once I get it assembled I'll have to take the grinder and touch it up to the thickness that the bar's worn to right here. That way the ledger plates and everything still run in the correct orientation. So we're about to find out. Well, that worked perfect. I wouldn't want to go any thicker than that, but it slid right in. No hitting, no nothing. So everything's tightened up. It runs good. I think that's all I needed to do. I need to grease it real quick, but other than that, I think all of the repair style stuff, hopefully that works. Although I think my main problem with this bar breaking was being loose right here between the second hold down and the drive head. I think it was like I say, I think it was allowing that thing to flex right there at the end of the drive, where the drive head terminates on the knife back, and it was breaking right there at that bolt. So hopefully by tightening up the drive and that first hold down, hopefully we solve that problem, because if all it's got to do is shove the bar in and out like it's supposed to without flopping up and down, there's no reason it should break. And I'll have to bring the other broken bar over and we'll fix it the same way, weld it back up, get everything cleaned up, and I save my dimensions and make another little splice like that, and I think we'll be all right. So I'd thought about having Dad TIG weld it together, but obviously the ones that you buy from Webb, or I'm just guessing Shoot probably got them too or whatever, they're probably not meant to be welded. They're just meant to be quick field bolt together fix, and welding would create weak points anyhow. So this is probably the strongest way to do this repair, is just bolt it. So I guess time will tell if we make it through this entire cutting without this bar breaking. It was one of the two things. It was, yeah. So, but I'm gonna clean things up. I'll grease this thing real quick, put it away, and we'll call it a night. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it'd be, and it worked out really well. I'm glad that I saw that on the website. Otherwise, I'd have never thought to do it. I didn't even know that there was such a thing. So, and dimensionally, like I say, it worked out perfect. I think I didn't mic it, but that's probably like 16th-ish plate, that just something we had laying down in the scrap pile. So hopefully tomorrow I have my part, or my 2 bolts that I'm waiting on, and we can finish that up real quick. That'll be a short video. So what the holy horsefly, come here, you little bastard. Yeah, damn it. So anyhow, I guess with that being said, that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.